Imagine a quiet suburban street where laughter once echoed from kids chasing a ball, suddenly silenced by one woman's iron-fisted rule. But what if that ban wasn't just about noise? It hid a darker motive, rooted in prejudice that targeted families like mine? As tensions simmered under the manicured lawns, a single act of defiance sparked a fire that exposed ugly truths and turned the whole neighborhood against itself. Would standing up shatter the facade or invite even greater backlash? Stick around to find out how one rebellion changed everything. In the heart of a seemingly idyllic suburb in Atlanta, Georgia, where cookie-cutter homes lined wide streets and picket fences gleamed under the southern sun, lived Marcus Thompson, a dedicated father and software engineer who had moved his family there seeking the American dream. Marcus, a black man in his mid-40s, had worked tirelessly to afford this slice of stability for his wife, Elena, and their two young sons, Jamal and Tyler, aged 8 and 10. The neighborhood, governed by the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, promised community harmony, with its glossy newsletters boasting about family-friendly events and pristine communal spaces. But beneath the surface, whispers of division lingered, especially for the handful of minority families who had recently settled in. Marcus's days began with the familiar routine of brewing coffee while watching his boys tumble out the door, basketball in hand, heading to the small park at the end of the block. The park, with its worn hoop and patchy grass, was a haven for the local kids, a place where friendships formed amid the thud of dribbles and the swish of nets. Jamal and Tyler thrived there, their energy boundless as they practiced shots and dreamed of NBA stardom. Marcus cherished these moments, seeing in them the innocence he fought to protect in a world that often viewed boys like his with suspicion. The HOA, led by Karen Whitaker, a sharp-featured woman in her 50s with a penchant for floral blouses and clipboard authority, enforced rules with zealous precision. Karen, who had lived in Willow Creek for decades, viewed herself as the guardian of the neighborhood's standards. She patrolled the streets in her golf cart, noting infractions like overgrown hedges or unauthorized yard ornaments. Most residents tolerated her, chalking it up to overzealousness, but Marcus sensed something more insidious. Subtle comments at HOA meetings about keeping the area family-oriented while eyeing newcomer families of color left him uneasy. One crisp autumn morning, as leaves crunched underfoot, Marcus received the first warning letter. It arrived in a crisp envelope, stamped with the HOA seal, citing a violation, excessive noise, and potential property damage from unauthorized sports activities in communal areas. The letter demanded an immediate halt to ball games in the park under threat of fines. Marcus furrowed his brow, recalling how white kids from down the street had played there unchallenged just days before. His boys, however, with their dark skin and lively chatter, seemed to draw her ire disproportionately. Curiosity gnawed at him. He attended the next HOA meeting, held in the community center's sterile hall, where fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Karen presided at the front, her voice clipped as she outlined new safety protocols. Marcus raised his hand, questioning the ban's fairness, but she dismissed him with a tight smile, insisting it applied to everyone. Yet, as he scanned the room, he noticed the approving nods from longtime residents, all white, and the averted eyes of the few diverse families present. Whispers followed him out the door, fueling a growing suspicion that this wasn't about balls or noise, it was about control, laced with unspoken bias. As weeks passed, the park stood eerily silent. Jamal and Tyler moped around the house, their spirits dimmed, while Marcus delved deeper. He pored over HOA bylaws late into the night, his laptop screen casting shadows on his determined face. What he uncovered hinted at a pattern. Previous complaints targeted minority-owned homes for minor issues, while similar violations by others went ignored. The setup was complete. A storm brewed. Curiosity turning to resolve as Marcus pondered his next move, unaware of how far this would escalate. Tension thickened like humidity before a Georgia thunderstorm as Marcus observed the selective enforcement unfold. White children from affluent families resumed casual games in driveways and side yards without repercussion, their laughter a stark contrast to the enforced quietude on his sons. Jamal and Tyler, confined to indoor activities, grew restless, their questions about fairness piercing Marcus's heart. He felt the weight of history pressing down, echoes of redlining and segregation that had shaped neighborhoods like this, now manifesting in subtle, modern forms. Karen's patrols intensified, her golf cart humming past Marcus's home more frequently, eyes scanning for any slip-up. One evening, as dusk painted the sky in oranges, Marcus spotted her lingering near the park, notepad in hand, watching a group of Latino kids from a nearby street attempt a quick kickball game. She swooped in, dispersing them with stern gestures while ignoring a similar gathering of white teens just blocks away. Marcus captured the disparity on his phone from afar, his pulse quickening with indignation. Emotional stakes rose as the ban's impact rippled through the community. Other minority parents confided in hushed tones during school pickups, stories of unwarranted fines for unsightly decorations that celebrated cultural holidays, or complaints about foreign cooking smells wafting from grills. Marcus formed quiet alliances, sharing his footage and bylaws research via a discreet group chat. One mother, Aisha, a Somali immigrant, recounted how her daughter's hijab had drawn Karen's concerned inquiries about dress codes veiled under community guidelines. The injustice revealed itself layer by layer, inspired by real events Marcus read about online. HOAs across the U.S. weaponizing rules against people of color, from barring braids in pools to fining for ethnic landscaping. His curiosity morphed into a burning resolve. But doubt crept in, challenging the status quo could invite retaliation, risking his family's hard-earned place. Nights grew sleepless, Marcus pacing the living room, weighing the cost of silence against the fire of action. As winter approached, frost coating the unused park, Karen escalated. A new newsletter announced stricter patrols and potential liens on non-compliant homes. Marcus's home received a second notice for a minor fence repair, one he suspected was fabricated. His son's dejected faces fueled his anger, Jamal's once bright eyes now dulled, Tyler withdrawing into video games. The emotional toll mounted. Marcus felt the isolation of being othered in his own backyard, a microcosm of broader racial divides. In a pivotal moment, Marcus attended another HOA meeting, this time armed with evidence. The room hummed with anticipation as he presented photos and records, highlighting the disparities. Karen's face tightened, her responses evasive, but the seed of unrest was planted. Whispers among attendees grew, some nodding in agreement, others shifting uncomfortably. Back home, Marcus plotted a rebellion, gathering support from affected families. The tension coiled tighter, each day bringing new slights. Anonymous note on his door warning him to know his place, amplifying the stakes. Would exposure unite the neighborhood or fracture it further? The air crackled with impending confrontation, drawing viewers deeper into the unfolding drama. The peak of intensity erupted on a sweltering spring afternoon, the sun beating down on Willow Creek like a spotlight on a stage set for reckoning. Marcus, heart pounding with a mix of fear and fury, orchestrated the rebellion that would shatter the HOA's facade. Drawing from whispered plans in the group chat, he rallied a dozen minority families and sympathetic allies, transforming the silent park into a symbol of defiance. They arrived en masse, children in tow, carrying balls, frisbees, and signs reading, "Play for all" and "End the bias." The air filled with the long-suppressed sounds of joy, dribbles, giggles, and cheers, as kids of all backgrounds reclaimed the space. Karen, alerted by a loyal informant, sped to the scene in her golf cart, face flushed with outrage. She brandished her clipboard like a weapon, demanding dispersal under threat of immediate fines and legal action. But Marcus stood firm at the forefront, his voice steady as he live-streamed the event on his phone, broadcasting to social media where thousands tuned in. The feed captured the raw injustice. Karen's selective fury directed at the diverse group, her words laced with undertones that betrayed deeper prejudices, echoing real-life viral videos of HOA confrontations rooted in racism. Chaos ensued as more residents emerged from their homes, drawn by the commotion. Some cheered the protest, others hurled accusations, dividing the neighborhood into factions. Marcus revealed his compiled evidence, a dossier of discriminatory complaints backed by public records showing Karen's history of targeting non-white homeowners, inspired by documented cases like the 2020s HOA scandals in Texas, where black families faced eviction threats over fabricated violations. The live stream exploded, comments flooding in with outrage and support, amplifying the emotional crescendo. Tensions peaked when Karen attempted to call the police, claiming trespassing on communal land. Officers arrived, sirens blaring, adding to the drama as bystanders recorded every moment. Marcus confronted her directly, presenting the bylaws that permitted recreational use, highlighting how the ban disproportionately affected families of color. The police, reviewing the evidence, sided with the protesters, warning Karen of potential civil rights violations. Humiliation washed over her as the crowd swelled, chants of unity drowning her protests. In the heat of the moment, a scuffle nearly broke out when a supporter of Karen shoved a protester, but Marcus de-escalated, urging peace while the cameras rolled. The emotional stakes hit their zenith. Tears streamed down faces as parents shared stories of subtle racism, from concerned calls about suspicious barbecues to fines for cultural flags. Viewers felt the raw pain, the injustice laid bare, retention hooked by the live unfolding of a modern civil rights stand in suburbia. As the sun dipped lower, the climax reached its boiling point. Karen, cornered by the evidence and public scrutiny, stormed off, but not before vowing retaliation. The park pulsed with triumphant energy, yet underlying fear lingered. What backlash would follow? This intense showdown, blending suspense with heartfelt revelation, left hearts racing, priming for resolution. In the aftermath, the rebellion's ripples transformed Willow Creek from a divided enclave into a battleground for change. Marcus's live stream went viral, amassing millions of views and drawing media attention that exposed Karen's biased enforcement. Investigations revealed her ties to outdated covenants with racist origins, leading to her ousting from the HOA board amid public outcry. New leadership emerged, inclusive and fair, revising rules to promote equity and hosting community dialogues on diversity. For Marcus and his family, victory came bittersweet. Jamal and Tyler returned to the park, their laughter freer, but scars of injustice lingered, a reminder of the fight's toll. The neighborhood healed gradually, with joint events fostering bonds that bridged divides. Inspired by true events like the 2018 California HOA case, where a black family challenged discriminatory fines, Marcus's story sparked nationwide conversations on hidden racism in suburbs. The powerful takeaway? Racism doesn't always shout. It whispers through rules and glances, eroding lives until someone stands up. How many more neighborhoods hide such shadows, waiting for a spark? If this story opened your eyes to the subtle injustices around us, like the video, and subscribe for more tales that challenge the status quo and inspire change.